using a ring light like a real professional YouTube person would do. With Sarah, who I guess doesn't want to be on the camera today. I'll let it slide.
I've been on camera every other time.
Okay, so I want to talk about, I'm going to pretend like I have not talked about the soft palette with you ever before. And so sorry if I repeat myself, but
It's okay.
So, oh, I can use my new picture too. I'm so excited for this picture. Look at this. It's so good. Oh, the ring light's in it. Okay, so here, see this bone? Or, you know, it's the white part, and then the teeth and the lips here. That's the hard palate. And then back here, the pink part, is the soft palate, which ends in the uvula, which is a little dangling down thing at the back of your throat. And so if you take the tip of your tongue here and push the tip of your tongue against the roof of your mouth towards the front of your mouth, like right behind your upper teeth, you can feel the texture is hard or soft.
Hard.
That's your hard palate. And then if you slide, and your hard palate is rigid and can't move because it's hard. And so then if you slide your tongue backwards towards your throat, along the roof of your mouth, do you feel where the texture changes? And suddenly it's soft? That's your soft palate, which can move because it's soft and flexible. And so if we light up with a flashlight or, you know, a music stand light, because that's what you have lying around, then you can see back in the back of your throat, you can see your uvula dangling down, hopefully, like this. It just looks like a little thing dangling at the back of your throat. And we want to choose to lift the soft palate up while we are phonating, while we're singing specifically. And so the first step to being able to lift the soft palate while singing is to be able to just lift the soft palate voluntarily when you're not singing. So like to choose to lift the soft palate. So if you lift your soft palate, you'll see the uvula retract up into itself like this. I'm going to try to start with my soft palate down. You see my uvula, and then I'm going to lift it up. And you can see that the uvula disappears, and it sort of looks like inside of a cave, like you got a dome that opened up suddenly. And so see if you can make yours do that a few times. And do you have some adjectives you could use to describe the sensation you feel back here in the back of your throat when you lift your soft palate and the uvula retracts? Space. Any others? Any other adjectives? I feel...
Not when I'm just doing it on its own. When I'm singing.
What do you feel when you're singing?
The tingles. I know I'm doing it right when I get the tingles.
In the soft palate itself?
And it sounds bigger, and I can sing higher belty notes like someone like you. I can do that now.
So,
see? I can do that now. So,
I'm not going to say anything like I told you so or anything like
don't say I told you so then.
I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say, like,
sounds your like passive-aggressive way of telling me, yeah, I was right.
I'm just saying it sounds like the principle of lifting your soft palate for high notes does work, maybe.
Blah, blah, blah. It's not true.
So anyway.
You don't know what you're talking about.
So, I would use the word stretch. I feel the back of my throat stretch open when I lift my soft palate. So now let's try an experiment and look at the uvula again and yawn.
Do that all day.
And you can feel, I don't know, this is not as good as a flashlight, but you can feel the stretch when you yawn, right? Do you identify with that adjective as well? Yeah, so like to me, the word stretched is the best word because, and another word which voice teachers hate to use, I feel the sensation of tightness. I feel a tight feeling, And the only place in your vocal tract you ever really want to feel tightness when you're singing is here. Because think, if like I stretch any muscle, right? Like I'm pulling the muscle tight. Or if I stretch a ligament, right? So this here I'm stretching, I feel tightness in these tissues.
I don't feel tightness.
I feel the tissues stretched tight. But it might not feel like that to you.
Yeah, I don't feel that. This might make no sense, but it feels easy, if that makes any sense. When I'm doing it, that's not going to really make any sense if
Like
you're not in my head.
A feeling of ease.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. That's why we need to talk about the labels, because you need to feel the sensation and then you must, like, stick a label on the sensation, because otherwise you have no hope of reproducing the thing you're looking for. And so I want to talk for a second then, and you can like keep looking in the mirror and trying to make the shape if you want to, but I want to talk to you a little bit about why, and then the word tight might help make more sense if you hear all of this. So the reason we want to lift our soft palate is because partly we want more space. The higher the note, the more space we need. And so our mouth is whatever size it is, but we have this leeway with the soft palate. Since it is flexible, we can stretch and make more space. And that is helpful acoustically for a variety of reasons, but like, and I don't know much about acoustics, that's just like you only learn a tiny bit about that in my degree field. But so if you walk into a cathedral, right, there's a dome. And so the sound from the people singing goes up into the dome, spins around inside of the dome, and comes back down and sounds more beautiful. So we're trying to create like this cathedral dome back here in the back of our vocal tract. And so when you do that, if you think of like these are your tissues, if you're pulling the tissues apart like this to create more space, you are stretching the tissues taut or tight. So that's why I feel tightness, because right now my mouth, the mucosal membrane inside of my mouth is all soft and squishy, but if I stretch those tissues tight to create more space, like when I'm yawning, that I feel the sensation of tightness in that way. And so the sound waves that we're talking about that go up, spin around, and then come back out through your mouth, since you're not an actual cathedral.
You don't know me.
The sound waves bounce. Like you probably have heard people say that before. So you can think of like a basketball bouncing as an analogy for sound waves. So if you bounce a basketball on asphalt, a hard surface, the ball will bounce with ease and will bounce very high. You barely have to tap it. It's going to like bounce. Whereas if you try to bounce a basketball on a soft, squishy top of your bed with a bunch of blankets, like no matter how hard you try, you're not going to get much of a bounce out of that basketball, because it's a soft, squishy surface and it's absorbing the energy. And we can do the same thing with our mouth that I'm talking about with the basketball, because we can make the surface tight and firm, and the sound waves can bounce more efficiently than in a soft, squishy environment. Does that make sense? And so now I think feeling the stretch and the tightness is really important, so you can identify what you do want to be doing while you're singing. But identifying the opposite is also very helpful, like physical feedback for yourself. So now just leave your mouth normal. Put your teeth together. And like you can even make your tongue kind of get glued to the roof of your mouth. So you have no space. Everything's very, very closed. And you can phonate in spite of that, like this. So try that. So I don't know if you feel this, because I've had so many vocal health issues. I'm like so sensitive to all these things. But when I try to phonate or produce sound with this, you can even see a little bit of tension in my neck. Like with the closed vocal tract like that, I feel like scratchiness right away in my larynx. It's very tight. And so you feel that. And so then you can but you feel the tightness at least, hopefully, the bad kind of tightness.
Yeah.
So now we can separate those elements one at a time. So separate your teeth. And just with a little bit of separation between your teeth, phonate again. And then we could really separate the teeth, which means dropping the jaw in front. Close your teeth again. And you can open your lips. Open your teeth. You don't have to change anything, but the sound is dramatically different just from that one little thing, right? And we're not trying to make any particularly beautiful sound right now. It's just like identifying the changes in the sound based on the changes you're making in your shape. And so then we could think of taking the tongue off the roof of the mouth, put the tip of the tongue pressed against the roots of the lower teeth so you feel the top of your gum and the bottom of your teeth. And when you listen back to this at home, you'll really hear the changes probably more than you are right now. And then we can lift the soft palate up in the back and stretch the back of the throat taut. So we have those nice firm tissues in the back. And you hear so much space. And again, like, we're not too worried about making a beautiful sound right now. We're just trying to make an open sound and to notice the feeling that is associated with that sound. So now the step I want you to master is to make this shape when you are inhaling and then keep the shape in place when you begin phonating. So that's the next step, and I'm hoping for you to practice that this week. So make the shape open. Yeah. If you yawn for real, that's okay. And in fact, here's one other way you could practice this. You can say like the alphabet or anything and try to keep like a closed space. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, just normal. And you probably have had this where yawn interrupts your phonation. And so you're talking, you're like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, right? So you can deliberately lift your soft palate and get that like yawning sound while you're talking. So try that with me at a time or two. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. And you can like feel that stretch up and open, right?
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
No, it's okay. Just alternating that and then some breathing, the candle bowl breathing exercise where you're trying to think shape. And like just like phonate for a couple seconds. Alternate that and the alphabet thing, like between your vocal exercises and between your songs to like try to like really glue into your mind. This is the feeling. This is the shape I see in the mirror when I feel these feelings. And this is the sound, the change in sound I hear with my ears when I make the shape and feel the sensations. We need to link all of those things together so we can consistently have a reproduction of that technique. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions about any of that?
Me too.